Welcome to another episode, everyone. Well, this is sad news. Gotti from Rollin 40's Crip killed, allegedly, reportedly, by his own cellmate there in Kern Valley State Prison. His cellmate is an individual from Rollin Crip, friendly fire. And these individuals had some sort of conflict. Apparently, something went on inside of that cell, and Gotti comes up dead. Gotti was a face from the Rollin 40's Crip. I know of this individual myself. We was in the county jail just briefly with one another. This is crazy, man. And, this is why we had to stay out of prison. Now, Kern Valley is turning into one of the worst prisons in California, if not the worst prison. There were 12 deaths there, maybe 2023 or something, about 3 years ago. And it's had the most deaths over the last 4 or 5 years combined in the California prison system, Kern Valley State Prison. So it used to be High Desert. That was the most dangerous. I was in High Desert for 7 years. I was in Kern Valley State Prison as well, just in reception though. But it's very dangerous there in Kern Valley. Again, it's basically taking the number one spot in California prisons as the most violent prison in California. That would be Delano, Kern Valley State Prison. So this here is Gotti right here. And just on June 26th, I believe it was, less than 2 months ago, the police passed by his cell at 3 a.m. And his cellie reportedly was standing up over him, and he was down on the ground with injuries. They went in there, got his cellie, cuffed his cellie up, took his cellie out, took him out, and at 3:26 a.m., so 26 minutes later, he was pronounced dead, was Gotti. Rest in peace to that brother. They said from blunt force trauma and multiple injuries. His cellie has not been charged with the murder yet, but they speculating that he'd be charged any day, any minute. They just, whatever, doing an investigation, but he had blunt force trauma and injuries. People are saying, well, see, that's why you can't be in the gang. This is why you got to stay out of the gang. But I'm not sure this has anything to do with the gang. These are individuals from the same gang, almost, if you will. They're from the same faction. That's why they're in the cell together. So it has nothing to do with gang politics. This has to do with just stay out of prison. This is two cellies getting into it. They just happen to be homies or from the same faction or the same section, but they just got into it more than likely as cellmates. Or unless, one was accused of doing something wrong there on the yard, and this other individual was the one that was charged with taking care of it because they're cellies. I don't know the story here, but it seems more there are a lot of conflicts, of course, there in prison. And, a lot of it has nothing to do with gangs. It's just misery that prison is. This is Respectable Rants, the YouTube channel Respectable Rants. He really did his homework on this, as he normally does. He goes in depth with this stuff. This dude, Gotti, he was about to come home. Actually, he was supposed to already be home. 7 months prior to his killing, he was supposed to have been at home. But he had caught another case, and so he had got an additional 2 years. So he's scheduled to come home next year, at the end of next year. Gotti, the other individual that's, allegedly the culprit, had 31 years for a manslaughter. But Gotti was coming home next year and should have been home. He should have been home 7 months ago. At this point now, 9 months ago, 7 months prior to his death, he was supposed to be at home. And that was in June. Ended up catching some more time and was still in there, still coming home next year. Then this happens.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about a situation that happened at Kern Valley State Prison where a Rollin 40 member was killed by his cellmate, and his cellmate was a Rollin 100 member. But let's dive right into it. Staff was conducting a count at 3 o'clock in the morning on June 28th of 2026 when they would notice that somebody named Tyron Meeks was unresponsive in his cell. They would notice blood in the cell, and they would notice how it looked like that a scuffle just took place. They would then put his cellmate in restraints and remove him from the cell, and his cellmate's name was Robert Green from the Rollin Hundreds. Staff immediately issued an alarm and began providing medical aid to Meeks. Prison staff activated 911 and they continued life-saving measures while they transported him to the prison's treatment area. They would then wait for outside paramedics to arrive, But when paramedics arrived, they pronounced Meeks dead at 3:26 in the morning, which was 26 minutes after they found him. And they would say that Tyron Meeks' cause of death was blunt and sharp force injuries. And Tyron Meeks would be Gotti from the Rollin 40's. And he was incarcerated for 2 separate cases. They received him from Los Angeles County on November 29th of 2017, where he was serving an 8-year sentence for a first-degree robbery, where he would have been released at the end of 2025. But on September 1st of 2022, he was sentenced to an additional 2 years to run consecutive for catching a case while in state prison. In this case would be assault by a prisoner with any means of force likely to cause great bodily injury. So now his release date was pushed to the end of 2027. And like we said, the situation happened on June 28th of 2026. And that was 7 months after his original release date before catching this new case. But Tyron Meeks, aka Gotti, would be a known face from the Rollin 40's. As you can see right here in this picture, this would be him, Baby Rich, and Tiny Hardhead. And Tiny Hardhead would be the person that passed away from Rollin 40's that Crip Mac's always speaking about. And this right here would be a picture of him, Baby Runner, and Spodiana, aka Lady Fodiloke. But since the age of 18, Gotti would be in and out of jail, where his first adult arrest happened on July 20th of 2013, and he was arrested for 1 count of grand theft auto and 1 count of taking a vehicle without consent. But after sitting in the county jail for 2 months, he would take a plea deal on this case, and he would plead no contest to taking a vehicle without consent, and he would have the grand theft auto dismissed. And he took this plea deal on September 5th of 2013, where they would give him 3 years of probation on that same day. But Gotti would only be free for 11 days before he was arrested again on September 16th of 2013, where they charged him with 1 count of attempted grand theft from a person. But as you can see, he would take a plea deal 2 days after he was arrested on September 18th of 2013. And they gave him 3 years of probation for this case and reinstated his probation for the other case. So now he was a free man. But 3 months after taking that probation deal, Gotti would be arrested again on December 1st of 2013, where they charged him with 1 count of robbery. But as you can see again, he would take a plea deal fast. He would take a plea deal 17 days after he was arrested. And he took his plea deal on December 18th of 2013. And on that day, they gave him 3 years in state prison. He would then do his bid in state prison, and he would be released at the end of 2016. But Gotti would only be free for about 11 months before he caught a new case. And this time he was arrested on October 12th of 2017. But as you can see, a month after he was arrested, he would take a plea deal on November 14th of 2017. And this would be the most recent case that he was serving time for, where they gave him 8 years in state prison, where, like we said, he was scheduled to be released at the end of 2025, but he caught that new case. But as for Gotti's
He taking a lot of plea deals. He taking them fast. But as you can see, he's in and out of jail. He's in and out of the county jail. And, you know, he's catching not too much, not too serious of cases, because he's getting 2 months and 6 months, and he's going right back home. He's not getting a long time in prison. And even his last case, again, so he was supposed to be home in December of 2025. This happened, of course, 2 months ago. He's supposed to be home. He's supposed to have been at home a long time ago. Of course, you know, hindsight is 20/20. Nothing you can do about that. You know, he caught another case, assault there in prison, and got likely to cause bodily injury. Didn't say assault with a weapon, so I don't know what happened there. But he ended up getting 2 years for that, and this is what pushed his date back from last year to next year, when he's due to come home next year, until this situation right here just happened in his cell. And who knows what went on inside of that cell. But again, it's more, for me, it's just more that you have to stay out of prison. It's not gangs as well. Stay out of gangs as well, because you know, it's like, this is your homie, y'all friends, your own homie take your life for whatever reason, man. Gotti, you know, he has family as well. He has a mother, a father, a sister, brother, kids, maybe, you know. People care about his life matters to many people, whether he's in prison or not. Whether he's a throwaway for society or not. He's not a throwaway. He's not trash to many people, certainly. So it's sad that he lost his life. And he was coming home next year.
Robert Green from the Rollin Hunnits, it's alleged that he's from underground block Crip. And they would say that they received Robert Green from Los Angeles County on October 7th of 2014. And he was serving 31 years for voluntary manslaughter with gang enhancements. But he was arrested for this murder on April 24th of 2011. And as you can see, he was arrested on the same day as the offense date. And at first, they charged him with 1 count of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. But after sitting in the county jail for a year and a half, they would dismiss the attempted murder. But Robert Greene from the Rollin Hunnits would sit in the county jail from 2011 to 2014. And don't forget that Tyron Meeks, aka Gotti, caught majority of his cases in 2013. And they're both from Rollin Crip, so at one point they were in the county jail together. But Robert Greene pled guilty on September 23rd of 2014 to voluntary manslaughter, where they gave him 31 years in state prison. But a few years into his bid, Robert Greene would catch another case while in state prison, and they gave him an additional 4 years for manufacturing deadly weapons while in prison. But before Robert Greene was arrested for this murder, he was in and out of jail since 2004 up until 2011, where his first adult arrest happened at the age of 19 on July 3rd of 2004. And they would charge him with one count of having a firearm on a person. And he took a plea deal on this case almost 3 weeks later, on July 21st of 2004. And on that day, they gave him 3 years of probation. But 2 months after taking probation, he would be arrested again on September 15th of 2004. And they charged him with one count of possession of base for sale. But he would take his plea deal 2 weeks after being arrested on September 27th of 2004. And they would give him 3 years of probation for this case and reinstate his probation for the other case. But 8 months after taking that plea deal, he would be arrested again on May 21st of 2005, where they charged him with one count of felon in possession of a firearm. But after sitting in the county for a little under 2 months, he would take a plea deal on July 6th of 2005. And on that day, they would give him 3 years and 8 months in state prison. Robert Greene from the Rollin Hunnits was then released at the end of 2008. But just a few days after being released, he was arrested again on January 30th of 2009. And this time they would charge him with one count of felon in possession of a firearm, one count of carrying a concealed weapon in a vehicle, and one count of carrying a loaded firearm. But after sitting in the county jail for about a month, they would allow him to bail out on February 27th of 2009 for $35,000. He would then be able to fight this case from the streets, but 7 months after bailing out, he would take a plea deal on September 15th of 2009. And he pled no contest to one count of felon in possession of a firearm, and he had the other 2 counts dismissed. And on that day, they gave him 5 years of probation. And he ended up staying out of trouble for about 2 years before he caught his murder in April of 2011. And he could have paroled in May of 2040. But as of right now, Greene was medically evaluated and he remains in a restricted housing unit pending an investigation. And as of right now, he's not charged with a murder, but I think it's safe to assume that he's going to be charged with it. But let me know what you guys think about them both being from the Rollin car and how they were cellmates. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.
And that again is Respectable Rants. My guy, Respectable Rants. As you can see, he does his homework, has all of their life history right there, you know, what they've been in and out of jail for, and exactly what happened with the situation as far as the time of death and everything else. Of course, we don't know what happened inside of the cell precisely. No one does. Go check out Respectable Rants. He's always on top of this sort of stuff. Rest in peace again to Gotti from Rollin 40's. Gotti, that's just another human being that lost his life there in prison for whatever reason, whatever happened inside of that cell. I have no idea. But whatever happened, he lost his life. And he was young. He was 31 years old. And we see that the other individual that is assumed to be involved in this, because again, he hasn't been charged yet, but they do that often. They just getting the paperwork together, basically. And then they're going to hit him with it. He was coming home, or could have came home anyway in 2040. And he could probably still get some of that time down, the way that the prison system works now. You know, he could have ended up coming home in 2035 or so. But let's just say 2040. You know, we're heading into 27, 13 years. Still some time. He was 41, or he is 41 years old, but still could have come home at 54, worst case scenario. And now, we'll see what happens, but it looks like he's may be charged with this, or he's going to be charged with this. And we'll see what happens with that. If he can somehow beat this case or not, if not, then he's stuck in there for the rest of his life. And then this man that should have came home last year, and in worst case scenario, should be home next year, has lost his life and is not coming home. He has people waiting on him to come home, people he's writing letters to, talking to on the phone, waiting on him to come home. Yeah, I'm out next year, man. Well, all right, man. And then this happens. Like, wow, crazy. Prison is not safe for anyone at the end of the day, for anyone. Prison is not safe for anyone. No one is safe. We see even on a protective custody yard, they have all of these PC gangs. And they're going to war with one another on 50-50 yards. It's not safe. You can't get away. You can't escape it. I'm going to go to 50-50. I'm going to go PC. Then I'll be all right over there. No, not necessarily. They over there going to work. Someone just got killed on a PC yard from a rival PC gang. Crazy. It happens all the time. You can't get around. The only thing you can do is stay out of there. That's it. Take your chances on the street. Not always safe out here either, but take your chances out here. You're damn sure not safe up in there. You can't even get away. And oftentimes the cell is where a lot of these murders occur in prison because the cell is very deadly. You have to choose your cellmate wisely. In such close quarters, you get into it with one another over whatever. You're both miserable. Turns into a fight. Anything can happen from there. You don't know this individual. You ain't grew up with him on the street. You just met him over a cold bowl of soup in prison on the yard. And y'all in the cell together. I don't know you, man. I don't know you. I don't know what you are capable of. I have to sleep around this individual every night. You have to let your guard down around this individual. You have to be careful. Fight turns into something more. This individual picks up a weapon. And you can't run. You can't get away. You're inside of a cell. Oftentimes, individuals hit their head against things inside of a cell because it's such close quarters. You hit your head on the locker, the bunk, whatever. Pass out happens all of the time because there's nowhere to go. You got a little space. That's why you can always hear a cell fight because everyone's bumping into everything in the cell. It's too small. It's not a big ring where you got space to dance around. You up in there like this, and it's deadly in there. And a lot of individuals lose their life at the hands of their cellmates. So you have to be careful. Rest in peace, man. Shout out Respectable Rants, my guy. Stay safe and stay free, people.